Hello, Scorpio friends. I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Scorpio November 2024 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. Very excited about the potentials of this month. This is Scorpio time after all, and although some of your thunder will be muted a bit because of some early Sagittarius transits that will usher in that season a little bit what may seem like prematurely in some ways, I think that you'll be excited about the potentials that can bring. We're going to go into all of it. Calling the theme of this month, Wealth Wave, Profound Prosperity Potentials. And believe me, I'm as excited about these potentials for you as you are, because even though I'm not a Scorpio, my husband is. So if he has a wealth wave, then that's good for me too. So we can celebrate together. Of course, there are many more things to talk about than that topic, and we will get into all of it. This is for you if Scorpio is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Scorpio placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree Scorpio friend, so birthdays like November 15th through the rest of the sign, or Scorpio degrees like 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Sagittarius report, as your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. Podcast friends, I'm putting the chart as the thumbnail in case you want to have a peek. YouTube friends, I'll be working on the chart. If you don't want to see the chart, you can either scroll up in the screen so that you can hear me but not see, or you can listen to the podcast version, which you can find pretty much everywhere. And podcast friends, if you want to see more of what I'm doing working on the screen with the chart, then you can come over to Annie Botticelli YouTube. Okay, so we've got a few things to celebrate. Let's lay the groundwork for this month. My intention is to give you as many of the layers that are going to affect you as possible and weave them into this fabric of potential experience so that you know the astrological weather, and you can prepare for it and you can make the most of it through your conscious interaction with the potentials. So I'm going to lay some groundwork with some general things that are important to know about the month, and then we'll start to weave into the Scorpio season story and then all of this wealth wave possibility. And of course, birthdays. I'm not going to forget those. There are a few things that make this month noteworthy, especially in comparison to what we're just stepping out of. I'm calling it my happy checklist for this month. And the first thing on the happy checklist is that we are out of the heat of eclipse season. So for better or worse, September, October, what kinds of things happened? One of the eclipse cycles, the Pisces Virgo, is in a nice angle for Scorpio placements. The Aries Libra one is in a challenged aspect for Scorpio placements. You could be getting a little bit of both, but regardless, the heat of the eclipse season is September and October. And we're in November now. So although manifestations can still come in, and news and information and evolution of the things that have happened, November is now more like trying to get into the new normal after the news or after the things that happened in the heat of eclipse season. So September and October were probably very intense. And this is going to be less intense from the perspective of the general astrological stars. So I see that as a check, a yay. Okay, the next thing to know is that we just have less transits, period. There are less interactions in the sky. October was very busy, very, very busy. And, we feel that. It's just like one thing after another. So now we have just less transits, including less annoying transits, although that ratio of sweet to salty, as I like to call it, sweet with the planets speaking each other's language, salty when they're not, and, those are, I call also nuisance transits. There's still a few more annoying transits compared to the sweet ones, but the ratio is much better. And we do have 7 beautiful aspects this month. So those will be lighting up the sky throughout the month. So I'm giving this a yay check mark for less transits and a better ratio. Something also that I am celebrating, and I'm not just celebrating it because I'm a Sagittarius, is that because of Venus transit in Sag, early Mercury transit moving into Sag early in the month, Pallas Athena is already there, the sun will get there. And plus we have a new moon at the very end of the month in Sag, the 30th, November 30th, and into December 1st. We've got that new moon in Sag. There's a lot of Sagittarius energy, and that can be very uplifting. It can be very expansive. It can be very lucky and benevolent and lighter, especially compared to the heaviness that we just went through with the eclipses. And of course, Scorpio season is that deep depth, mystical, mysterious, sometimes abyss. And although that is your language, sometimes you may want to have that be lightened and get a break from that as well. So, I'm considering this as a yay check mark that we actually have more Sagittarius this month early on than we usually do, but you'll still have the sun in Scorpio. For a few days, you'll have Mercury in Scorpio. What can actually happen from the combination of fire with your water is the creation of very productive steam. So these energies combining together can be incredibly productive and can be very useful, especially if you direct them in the right ways. Fire brings impetus, and if you have impetus and strong emotion, then you can pretty much accomplish anything. And we will actually have a couple of great transits. I'll just give you the dates on those now. These are Scorpio transits. So the sun is going to, right at the beginning of the month, trine Saturn. That's around November 4th or so. And that's a beautiful aspect. Actually, I'll get more into what that means soon, but just to give you the dates, November 4th and then November 18th, the sun will come to a later degree and then trine Neptune. So, we do have a lot of positive Scorpio activity. So what could this look like? When I say this, I mean the whole Scorpio story, okay? We've got the sun there. I'm crossing out the moon because the moon moves so quickly that it's only there right at the beginning of the month for a couple of days, and then we'll switch. So we're really just talking about the sun. We're talking about the new moon in Scorpio on November 1st at 9 degrees. And then we're talking about these nice aspects that are made with the sun. And really, at the very beginning of the month, you're still kind of feeling that trine with Mercury and Neptune as it's just leaving that configuration. So what does it mean? And what does it mean that it's moving through the first house? Okay, so we know that Scorpio represents that deep dive into the eternal, all that is. These can bring breakthroughs spiritually, psychologically. Mysteries can be solved. Deep financial and intimate romantic relationships can bring beautiful fruit at this time. And you can just have some really nice, emotionally connected experiences, intuitive breakthroughs, anything having to do with the lesser seen realms, or even the realm of money, crypto, investments. Now, while this month is completely covered in retrograde energies, which we'll get to later, so it's not necessarily the best time for doing new, huge things. This is more of an experimental type of time. But you still can get lots of benefits from things that you did before. You still can experiment quite a bit. And there is just this, this very deep space of Scorpio. Now, when all of this happens in the first house, as it does in the Scorpio chart, what can it bring? Okay, this can bring increased confidence and magnetism. You can have a surge in confidence, just from something that happens or just kind of random. You can have great personal transformation and rebirth. You can have reinvention of yourself. And now while we're here, tie in birthdays, because the vast majority of you Sun Scorpios are going to have your birthdays this month. We already talked about happy birthday for our October friends in the October report, but the vast majority of you are going to have your birthdays. And birthdays are powerful portals of wishing. When the universe is more aligned to give you the things that you want, and that really can help you. So you can use your birthday wishes. Everyone has new moon wishes, and the days are on the 1st as well. And if you have a Scorpio placement other than the sun, when the sun crosses over your Scorpio placement, whether it's rising or moon or whatever it is, there is a burst of energy towards your desires as well. So you can really set your intentions and use the power of this time. Now, everyone will get the goodie potentials from the Scorpio new moon, but those of you who are like Halloween babies, we'll say, Halloween, November 1st, you guys, to the 2nd, 3rd, kind of that grouping there of November 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 9 degrees. If you know your degree, it's more accurate to use degrees than it is to use dates, because the sun doesn't get into Scorpio the same day each year. That's why a 9-degree Scorpio placement can be on several different days. But that grouping there can get an extra kiss, and we'll put it 5 degrees in each direction. So like October 25th through November 6th or 7th. And the closer you are to the end of October, beginning of November. But you're not being left out of it if you're not in that zone. But this energy is about reinvention. It's about the whole cycle of the wheel, going back and starting all over again. This can increase your magnetism and personal power. This can give you enhanced focus and determination, even though Mars, your co-ruler, is getting deeper into retrograde, and it is ending a September-October spree of trines with Cancer and you. This is kind of changing the nature of that. We'll get into it more after. But what's important to know is that this is a time where you may feel enhanced focus and determination, heightened intuition and self-awareness, more of a connection to your body, and you may feel more empowered in general. You may feel empowered from setting boundaries, and this is a really big story. Aries energy is pretty direct, and Aries is ruled by Mars. You're co-ruled by Mars. There's a little bit of a relationship here and a little bit of a crossover in some personality traits with Aries and Scorpio. And so at this time of year, when these energies flood this first house, which is ruled by Aries, then, it really can be more direct, where Scorpio energy tends to be more subtle and in the backdrop. It sneaks up on you. And I always yell because my husband scares the living daylights out of me, because I always tell him he's like that monster in Monsters Inc., the one that's invisible, and then all of a sudden he's there. I didn't even hear you coming, and all of a sudden he's just standing right there. So you have that, that powerful way of sneaking up on people. And, but again, it's it's more in the backdrop, right? But Aries is more in the front. So you may gather power back to you from setting boundaries that have needed to be set for a long time, or nipping them right in the bud. You may find more physical and emotional resilience. You may feel more passionate and more passion pursuits happening, because those trines, then we'll start to tie this in, the trines with the Sun and Mercury, with the planets in the 5th house, this is a Leo house. And Mars is going to go into Leo also. So we do have a couple of extra lines of energy of Leo, which rules your passion projects, which rules your effervescent, creative efforts. It rules you as a leader, people seeing, what you've been working on in the backdrop all this time. And this is also romantic passions. This is children. This is bucket list stuff, hobbies, things that bring you great joy. So you've got some nice boosts in the days around the 4th and the days around the 18th, as those tie-ins from the 1st house lead to your 5th house. So you may be very creatively productive. You may feel more self-assertive. You may feel more brave. You may magnetize opportunities for personal growth. You may have the courage to confront fears or situations that you had been avoiding prior. There also could be a profound transformation in physical appearance. Now, as I tell you this, I want to give the warning and disclaimer that with Mercury in retrograde and with Mars deepening in retrograde, it's not necessarily the best time. November is not the best month to do a drastic, can't be fixed or positively adjusted very quickly, change. So, kind of let that kind of seep in. But it is great for small things that can go a long way, or things that are experimental, like getting a henna tattoo in a place where you may want a tattoo in the future, so that you try it on. It's a great time for trying things on. You may color your hair with a washout coloring to test things that you want to do in the future. Or you may have a wardrobe upgrade, something that is not expensive enough that if you decided you don't like it in a short amount of time, that it would be a problem, you see, something like that. Ways that you can upgrade. Also, you could find just a favorite new product that really works for you. Things like that are some ways that this physical appearance aspect of the 1st house can come through. Okay, so I was torn as to whether I should get right into this wealth wave, profound prosperity potentials, or talk about the retrogrades, but I figure you want to hear more about the wealth wave first, right? And then I'll just weave in the details and the dates about the retrograde as we go along. So why am I so enthusiastic about this title? Please know that it is very difficult to encapsulate what turns out to be pretty detailed readings into one sentence or a couple of phrases to give you the essence of what this month is about. But I do my best, and I think I do a really good job. And I always substantiate why I say it. And so I'm going to show you where the wealth wave and the profound prosperity potentials come from. I started out the discussion by saying we're going to have a massive amount of energy in Sagittarius. Mercury will get there a few days in. The sun will get there the 23rd. Venus is there. Pallas Athena is there. November 30th, there's a new moon there. For people in the Eastern time zone and west of the Eastern time zone, that November 30th Sag new moon will actually be a black moon, second new moon in a calendar month. Friends in Europe and, to the right of the Eastern time zone there, you all will have your black moon at the end of December with the Cap new moon, because November 30th through December 1st is when this Sag new moon is, you see. So only for the ones who have it on the 30th would that officially be a black moon. But it is this kind of semantics. It's basically a time of extra power of going deep and seed planting. Okay, so all of these Sag energies are lighting up your second house of money and income and financial consciousness, and flooding it with optimism and possibilities and broadening of the ways that you can earn money and spend money and get connected with the earth in ways that aren't necessarily financial. So this is, an earthy placement, which can speak to our connection to the material realm. And the material realm rules both money and financial things we buy with money, and also our connection to the earth and our imprint and our flow with the natural rhythms. So regardless of where you're focusing on that spectrum, the possibilities are profound, okay? Because of all of this energy flooding into your money house. So you could get a boost in money, income. The retrogrades energies can bring money back. And see, Venus is here too. So when you have Venus transiting your money house, that's especially helpful and hopeful. Sagittarius in general tends to be buoyant and optimistic, so that's helpful. It also tends to be broad. Scorpio gets really narrow and monofocused. Sagittarius gets really wide. So this is an interesting polarity here. But with all of the Sagittarius energy in your money sector, you may be thinking big about possibilities for your finances. You may be looking in the periphery, not in the main view right in front of you, things outside the box very much for your finances and your future. And because of that retrograde energy, there's definitely this tie to the past, ideas from the past, people from the past, things you did in the past, work that's already happened. So I guess now would be a good time to give you some dates for the retrograde, and then we'll pop back over to our money potentials. Okay, so the pre-Mercury retrograde shadow transit starts on November 8th. So now if you watched my report last month, then you know that October 7th or October 8th, kind of around those dates, I'm just going to write it out because I know those of you in Europe do it backwards. Okay, so let's see. October 8th, we started Mars shadow period. And Mars shadow period starts October 8th, goes all the way through October, all the way through November, and then it officially goes retrograde on December 6th until February 25th, and then the post-transit lasts into May. So that's a very long time. So every day into October, now into November, we're building towards Mars retrograde. I'll get back to that. I just want to give you the dates. Now we add on to that Mercury retrograde, pre-shadow transit, November 8th. Then it will officially go retrograde on November 25th. It will stay retrograde until December 14th. And the post-shadow transit period will go until January 3rd. Okay, so this November, December is what we're working with retrograde energy. So anything you do during these months will best be served with a tilt to the past. And by the way, if you're a holiday shopper, doing your shopping before November 8th, I do put these out early, and you can get them even earlier when you sign up for my newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. You put your name and email address in. I realize it's not on the screen, but when you scroll down on this page, you put your name and email address in and then click receive. And not only do you get my sweet and salty write-up, all of the dates to be awareful and careful of. I always give you a lot of dates in the report, but if you want my top ones to be worried about and to be excited about and all of that, you get that when you sign up here, anniehelpsyou.com. But you do that is you get the newsletter into your inbox, and you click on the archive link and you put November 2024 astrology. Okay, and then you can find all that. But my point of sending you here now was that on this page, when you scroll down, you can see my Secret Star portal. In my Secret Star portal, you can have access to my 2025 retrograde direct calendar to see the open spots where the tides are going out next year. So you have those for your planning purposes. The thing that I can tell you now is that starting October 8th and going well into next year, we're in a retrograde time. So that means a couple of things. it means the tides are coming in. So if you try to put a boat or a message in a bottle or a launch or a big thing you're trying to make go out, it's going to come back in. And you'll be here on the shore and things are coming towards you, right? Because the tides are going in. The tides won't be going out for a long time. So this is a time to be internal, time to be the spider and to wait until there's something to pounce on rather than trying to conjure something. Okay, so we're going to apply this back to the money thing, but I just want to get the energetics straight. So it's not a time to try to force things, and you will get lots of frustration, especially as a Scorpio if you do that, because Mars is one of your rulers. If you find that something's getting frustrating, either go back to the Sagittarius openness and thinking outside the box and looking at things from the top of the mountain to help you find a way to find a solution that is beyond your search scope at this point. Or just stop pushing, So, and then just see what comes to you. A dolphin may visit. That's a nice thing the tides may bring in. Trash may come in. You'll have to deal with that. So you just we're in the retrograde now where it's time to let things come to you, to work on things as you're inspired and to follow your flow of excitement as much as you can. Of course, if you have to do basic things, you have to do basic things, but just for the things that you can schedule and the things you can control. Leaving yourself as unscheduled as possible in November will let you leave room for last minute magic where you can be that spider and pounce on the thing that comes into the net or the web. And, that's really what to do at this point. And so, like I talked about with the checklist, Sag energy can make you be more laid back. But this impending Mars retrograde can start to bring things up that are unresolved and bring frustration if you try to force things. And then Mars will start squaring your sign as it moves through Leo. Okay, so that's going to put some pressure on the situation too. But I'll get back to that. So back to the money. So now that you understand what's going on in the financial sector, how we can apply that to money is that you're your spider. Where's the spider? There it is. Okay. You're the spider. You're waiting for opportunities to come into your web. You're waiting on the shore for the opportunities. Okay. And then as they come, then you can pounce on them without having to conjure. And if you do any conjuring, as long as you're not getting frustrated and it's flowing, then that's fine. It's really great for short-term and experimental things like promotions, because a promotion is by nature short-term. Your promotion isn't going to last a long time. So putting out promotions this month is fantastic. Things like that. Those are the kind of things that you can take action on. And you may find you have a very prosperous, promotion that goes on or something like that. Okay, so now on the same topic of money. So the next line of energy, we've already talked about there being lots of second house things going on. There's also the full moon on November 15th at 24 degrees of Taurus. And this is the money sign related to the second house. Taurus rules the second house. So we also have that fullness, completion, fruition, possibly drama, possibly manifestation coming from this full moon. And that full moon will be in your opposing sign in the 7th house of relationships. So something with financial relationships, something having to do with money and other people. It's not the 8th house of other people's money, but it is in a relationship house and it is a money sign. So there's just more potential for elucidation, manifestation, something coming and possibly out of the blue because Uranus is conjunct that degree of the full moon. And all of you can feel the intensity, for better or worse, hopefully the wealth wave prosperity potentials. But those of you who are in the later part of the sign, so we'll use a 5-degree orb, so 19 degrees through 29 degrees, the closer you are to around 24 degrees. So those are going to correspond with birthdays around November 13th through November 23rd, and the closer to around November 18th. There will be more intensity from that that moon and Uranus conjunction opposing your particular placement, okay, your Scorpio placement. So we add all of that intensity and potential, possibly strikes of genius for Uranus bringing that, or jolts, unwelcome jolts that are going into the financial possibilities. But that could mean money comes out of the blue. But that you have Jupiter going through your 8th house. If you've been listening to my reports, then you know that this can make you more lucky with money. Jupiter is retrograde right now, but that doesn't mean the powers are lost. And things can definitely come in that had started in the past and are now flowing to you. So now let's add Mars into the story here. Mars is going to be moving through your house of work, career, employment, your place out in the world. Even if you don't make money or want to make money, it's where you're most visible, where people see you. Maybe you're a volunteer in a club or a group, or maybe you have a passion project and you're helping with literacy, or whatever it is that you're doing out in the world. You have you're in the gardening club, whatever it is. It doesn't matter if you're making money, but for those of you who do have to make money or do want to be making money, this is the house here, okay? This is one of the big houses. So Mars is going to be moving through here, and it's not going to go retrograde until December. So you still have the month of November and part of December where it's forward moving. Even though it's in the shadow of retrograde, a lot of progress can be made. But again, the way you get the most productive progress is to navigate around frustration. And if you find you're hitting a brick wall, this isn't the time to push through. This is the time to pull back and then wait for a better opportunity to strike. Because this makes a square to your Scorpio placements, this could mean that there's some pressure in the workplace. This could mean that there's a project that you're having to pull through. Maybe you have a big promotion that you have to set up, and that's a lot of work, but it could be profoundly positive. You see, a square doesn't mean it's bad, and it doesn't mean that it's negative at all. It means it's a pressure point. But sometimes the pressure points are what make you do what you're supposed to do. Back to the boundary setting we were talking about. Back to, the assertive energy that we were talking about with the 1st house. So there's probably something you have to do that, will require something of you, and then you can crack through to the gold. Now, this is, I'm talking about this for the month of November. And it would be really nice if astrological transits neatly fit into a calendar month, but they do not. So, these energies don't have to just start November 1st and end November 30th. They're weaving in this story of what I'm talking about here with the money and the pressure in the workplace and having to set the boundaries. This has been weaving. You will have felt this, and it's going to continue and in some ways come to a head. So that's what's happening. Now, I am going to give you one more date. And if you want more dates, go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, put your name and email address in the bottom where it says receive, click receive, get the welcome letter, and then click on the archive link and put November 2024 astrology, and you'll get my write-up for the month to get more transits and dates. But I have to tell you about this Pluto opposing Mars, and this happens right at the beginning of the month. This is a power struggle of epic proportions. There's a very good chance that the things that have been culminating that we're talking about may erupt right now. You see this, I'll make it a different color to try to show it better. See how this is called a T-square. And this is, a point where there are two 90-degree angles occurring. And some of this is long-term stuff, like Pluto hanging out here. This has been a pressure source for a while. That's part of why I'm saying some of the pressures I'm talking about have been building for a while. There has been a square to your essence, to your very being, how you express in the world from Pluto for an extended period of time. I'm talking about years, okay? Because this is, you can see how this is happening. So all of the energy that went into everything that happened, with the coronavirus and all of the things that happened have a lot to do with this Pluto teeter-tottering from Capricorn, the end of Capricorn to the beginning of Aquarius. And if you're interested in this, it's still helpful retrospectively. If you search for Annie Botticelli coronavirus, you'll find my report about how the astrology really created the things that happened. And, so you can see that there. But there's a very personal tie-in for you because this has been squaring, okay? So now Mars will come in. Mars, the ruler of Pluto, Pluto and Mars, the ruler of you. And so this is very personal. This has to do with work. This has to do with home. This has to do with family. This has to do with your inner world. This has to do with your outer world. This has to do with your essence of who you are and what you're bringing into the world. So there's a big showdown here at the beginning of the month. And, this is this is a really big deal. So the decisions that you make now can have a profound effect on your finances, and money opportunities and the wealth wave are sitting, waiting to happen. You can do things to improve your attractiveness to the financial outcomes, similar to if a bunch of people go to a picnic and there's salmonella in the potato salad and everyone eats it, but only one person gets the salmonella. That's because they had a microbiome that was conducive to not being able to kick out that infection, you see. So you may have an internal energetic climate that is not making you match the potentials that are happening in the stars. And then you can do inner work, and look for how to do inner work on your financial consciousness to, receive the best possible outcomes. Overall, a very powerful month full of massive possibilities, hopefully a wealth wave and profound prosperity potentials. Okay, so I've given you some dates to note for this month. If you want more dates because you want to see the sweet dates, the salty dates, when are the best days to do what? When are the best days to be awareful and careful of? Then go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address, and then click receive. And then you'll get into your inbox my welcome letter. In the archive, click on the archive link and put November 2024 astrology in the archive link, and that will bring you to my November write-up. Okay, so plus you'll get all kinds of goodies, and I'm always thinking of new ways to get goodies to my free VIP crew, which is what you become when you sign up there. You'll get my free 28-day, very comprehensive virtual coaching program for free. You'll get a Train Your Brain subliminal audio to relax and unwind to help you stay calm during tough astrological transits. You'll access my Wonderland of Astrology education to help you align with the natural rhythms of the month. I do send out monthly mini astrology lessons, and you do have access to all the archives as a member of my free VIP community. You also get access to my eclipse resource page to understand those cycles as they go through, and my health tips for the zodiac signs. So you just get so much. You can find it all in the welcome letter, so you can go there. Now on that same page, if you scroll down, you can access my secret star portal. This is where you will find my 2025 retrograde direct calendar for your planning, to know the open windows for next year, the times that will be much easier to push things out when the tides are going out. And if you want to learn astrology, I'm your girl. I've got a ton of free things. Obviously, if you're listening to my work, you see that I'm teaching for free online. But if you want a more structured system and you want to learn how to become a professional astrologer, either just to help yourself and your family and friends or to earn money, that is my area of expertise. I've been teaching astrology for 20 years. I've been a successful astrologer for 20 years. And also a successful online practitioner for a good bit of that time. And it all comes through in my Become a Professional Astrologer Mastery course. So you can click on Up Level there and see my basics course, or what you get that course for free when you join the Professional Astrology Certification course. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.